folks at V3, and you're going to get familiar with V3 here, hopefully in a little bit. Thank you. Thank you for creating the type of communities we want to see. Thank you for thinking about our youth and opportunities, because the data is pretty clear. If we can engage youth and engage them when they're young and have them feel a part of the community, their personal achievements go up. And what we see is that all of the things that can go awry with our youth are much less common. And one of the things that we've talked about from the beginning of our administration with Lieutenant Governor is that we cannot create these inequities. We do it with education. When we fund education based predominantly on property tax, we create haves and have-nots. When we do that on different things, we create disparities, and we know that the disparities are real. The data supports it. We can go by social vulnerability index, and we can tell you what outcomes are, everything from life expectancy to home ownership to achievement. Those types of things, that is unacceptable in a state like Minnesota. And so what we're out is we start thinking about a bonding bill, local jobs and projects, and we think about a supplemental budget with the state of Minnesota being in a strong position to be able to invest in the future, especially making those investments in our children and communities that make a difference. We are out looking at, as I was saying, we've been spending a couple hours every day for the last few weeks going line by line through bonding projects and through supplemental budgets. And when we have representatives with strong voice, community organizations with strong voices asking us to come out and look at these projects, I think it's really important because the legislature is going to do their work, the House and the Senate. We need to get that kind of supermajority to get things done. So we want to build excitement around taking a look at these projects and telling Minnesotans what these investments make. This type of project is exactly the ones we're looking for. We've been out at fire halls looking at public safety. We've been out there looking at different roads and bridge projects. It can be water treatment plants and things, basic infrastructure. This is basic infrastructure for our children. They need to have these opportunities, and they need to be told, you can be the best in the world. When you look at what's behind us, they deserve to have these opportunities, and the state of Minnesota is in a position to be able to deliver them. The good news is the return on the dollars to us are immense, whether it be construction jobs, full-time jobs, or creating an economic magnet where folks will want to come here and compete. This will be a premier facility in the entire upper Midwest, not just in Minnesota. And that's what North Minneapolis deserves. And I think for us to be out here, we're certainly excited about this. We put it into our bonding bill, make sure that we're making the case. I asked the senators and the representatives to do the work. Sometimes if it's something that the Lieutenant Governor and I want, that just means that they don't want it in some cases. So we need to make the case that I think you'll see is projects like this aren't partisan. Projects like this make sense. We can make an economic argument. We can make an argument of investment in our children's. We can make the case that this is how we start to get at those disparities, like health disparities. And you'll hear a little bit about this. It's just this idea of our children need to learn how to swim so that they're safe. Those are things that many of us grew up with that opportunity to do. Our kids in North Minneapolis deserve the exact same thing. So I'm excited about this project. We're excited about what V3 is doing. They've been here a long time. They're taking the best principles that we know is true, mind, body, spirit, putting those into their community, giving dreams that can actually become realities and Olympic dreams in some cases. Those are things that inspire our children. And I tell you, after 2 years of just wondering, what can I get to school next? What's happening with this pandemic or whatever? Now is the time for Minnesota to go bold on projects like this. Now is the time to give Minnesotans a vision of this is exactly what we can do. Having this facility here in North Minneapolis and doing it as quick as we can get it done to give these kids an opportunity just makes great sense. So I'm just proud to be a part of this. You can know, senators and representatives, that we will put this in our bonding proposal. We will make the case and use our office to try and make this case. And I think many Minnesotans would agree this is exactly where we should be putting our resources. With that, Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you.
Those are great looking boots.
Thank you. I dressed for the weather today. So I'm just so excited to be here, and the vision for this place and this space is so incredibly exciting. One of the most powerful things, Erica, that you said is that our kids on the north side deserve the very best. And that is how we should be leading and how we should be thinking about these projects. Every Sunday, I drive past V3 on our way to church at Ascension, and my husband and I was like, what is gonna be in there? What is that all about? And now I can be like, it's gonna be amazing. As a kid who grew up swimming, it is a powerful, life-changing sport. And I am so excited for the opportunity for more of our young people to have access to it. Part of our job as the governor and our legislators is to really work to resource the vision that a community has for itself. And for so long, we've seen projects and bonding projects in particular that have happened behind closed doors. It's been a secret handshake that our communities haven't been a part of. And when I say our communities, I mean Black, Native, communities of color, and we are putting that at the forefront of the work that we are doing. Previously, we had 1.9 billion in bonding projects, 30 million of that set aside specifically for organizations that are led by and for and serve communities of color. I think you can anticipate that we will continue to do that as we're moving forward and putting together our bonding proposals as well as our supplemental budget. But we have a track record of seeing organizations that work when we invest in them. The Hmong American Farmers Association, Juxtaposition here on the north side, the International Institute. So we know that this works. Your vision is so incredibly exciting, and we want to lift it up, and it's why we're here. So thank you so much for your commitment to the community. There's nothing that we can't do if we work together and really share this vision with other folks. And someone who's been a really important part of that vision has been Senator Champion. So I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to say thank you, a heartfelt thank you, to Governor Walz and our wonderful Lieutenant Governor, Peggy Flanagan. And the reason why I started there, and of course all the great folks from V3 and Representative Bajek, the reason why I start there is because when you think in terms of vision and leadership and leading with a boldness that is instrumental and important for all of us, it takes to have a fearless leader and leaders. And when Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor first started their campaign, they always talked about one Minnesota. How do we make sure that Minnesota is seen as one, but understanding that every part of our wonderful state needs something just a little different? But for us to value them and to appreciate every aspect of this wonderful state. And when you have leaders like this who are willing to come to North Minneapolis or go to Rochester or go to any place in our state and understand what that community needs and elevates the needs of that community in a real honest and heartfelt way, here, hats off to them. And guess what? We are standing in an incredible building, but it's going to be even better. And this community is going to enjoy it when you think in terms of that instructional pool and all the other amenities that Malik and Erica and all the others have talked about on this tour. But here's what's also important. North Minneapolis is not a deficit. We have assets as well.
Yeah.
And we want to elevate those assets so that other people can see and come to this great space and have a renewed sense of who we are in North Minneapolis and what we stand for. Our kids deserve the best, like every other kid deserves the best. And I'll end with this. I was here when they did a soft opening, and that's when they first brought the pool here, and I had a chance to see that incredible pool. At first, I thought it was going to be a pool this size, but then I got a chance to go see it, and I was like struck by it. And I found myself cheering for all the other athletes that were breaking records, and to just imagine that pool was coming to Minnesota, and not just Minnesota, North Minneapolis. Yeah. And on the day when they had a soft opening, they had this part in the ceremony where a little girl got a chance to uncover the first diving
starting lock
of the pool. And I think the number was 1. And that had such an incredible symbolism. One, that they too could see, that they could have in their community something that has history to it. They too can feel as if they have the best like every other child, and we can look in their eyes and tell her that you are worth it.
Yeah.
But more than anything else, I saw the smile on her face when she got a chance amongst family and friends to do that incredible act that was more symbolic of what? Her future, possibility, opportunity. And it reminds me of a song that says, I believe that children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Thank you so very much.
I am here for that.
Well, thank you, Senator Champion. That's always a hard act to follow. Thank you all for being here. My name is State Representative Esther Agbaje. Again, I want to give my heartfelt thanks to Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan for coming up to North Minneapolis and seeing all the vibrancy that's happening in North Minneapolis. I think the biggest thing about all of our communities, but especially this one, is we need to focus on what community wellness means. V3 Sports is going to be bringing a center. It's where people can come, they can become rejuvenated, they learn new skills, whether it's how to swim, how to do a triathlon, and there'll be opportunities here. And we know that there are opportunities across the north side, but one thing we haven't done quite yet and quite taken seriously is investing in those. And so this is an opportunity to invest in our children, invest in this neighborhood, and invest in this region. This is a part of Minnesota that needs to continue to be included in the one Minnesota that our governor always talks about. And so one of the things I'm really excited about this project when Erica and Malik brought it to me is really this sense of community across spaces that people think are completely different. A lot of people think once you cross into North Minneapolis, you're in a whole different world. But right outside this door, you see downtown Minneapolis. And downtown Minneapolis is not just a neighbor, but it is a partner for North Minneapolis. And it makes sense that as neighbors and as partners, we are working together to make sure all of our kids, all of our families have the investments that they need to make sure that they can lead thriving lives. So I really thank you guys for your support. I'm really looking forward to what we can do here in the future. Thank you.
I really don't know what to say. They are like questions.
Yep. Why don't you take your mask off and then just kind of tell them guys why this is an important investment for North Minneapolis. Why is the V3 Center important?
So the V3 Center is an important investment. First of all, I want to say I'm born and raised in North Minneapolis. I went to all the community centers around here, grew up in the park and rec system, ended up playing sports, and you know, growing up and playing sport, I had to travel out to the Eden Prairies and the Hopkins of the world to really get the best training and have access to the best facilities. And I couldn't imagine a regional asset right in my own community that I could catch the bus to, I could walk to, catch a train. And this is the V3 Center is an opportunity for all of that, as well as developing the overall person in a lot of different ways. Due to those facilities, I was able to, you know, receive a lot of different Division I scholarships and to be able to play collegiate football. But it was through that access and opportunity that I was able to do that, and I had the parents that believed in me and put in that effort to do that. I was lucky for that. I'm really excited for our community to have this opportunity to be able to do that in a very accessible way and to really contribute to health and wellness equity in Minnesota and the region.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you so much to Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Senator, Representative for coming, and everybody for taking the time out to learn what we are doing here at the V3 Center. We are so excited for the possibility and the vision of what this space can be for our community and for the region. Like Malik was saying, it's so important to have that access where it isn't really access if it's hard to get to or it's not affordable. And that's what this place is going to be. It's in your backyard. We're going to have opportunities for people to actually be in this space, learn from it, and have opportunities that they haven't envisioned educational-wise, in learning about all the different elements that go into a building like this, and create opportunities to access and inspire dreams in North Minneapolis, in Minnesota. And we're just so thrilled that you took the time to learn about it, and let's do it.
Yeah. I would note the excitement around this of North Minneapolis architectural firms, We need to make sure we're creating a pipeline for North Minneapolis skilled trade folks to work here, keeping this money in the community, with the community itself for their vision. I think as you heard here and the Lieutenant Governor so aptly put, the state needs to be partners. The community knows what they need. The community's doing the work, and the assets that are here benefit all the rest of Minnesota. So we're grateful, and we'd be glad to take some questions from any of us.
What was the size of your ask from the state?
Whatever they're willing to give us, we'll take it.
Senator Champion, you want to talk about how we envision this package-wise and some of the things that are out there already existing, and then what will come?
Yeah, so there's currently a pot of money that DEET has for targeted communities. It's targeted communities grant. And so there's the first phase that they hope to break ground next summer. It's going to be
This spring.
This spring, I'm sorry. This spring, and I think it's like $19 million. And so the first ask, when we think in terms of that targeted communities grant, is roughly 1.5 million that they're asking for. And at the same time that they do phase 1 is what I like to call it, they're going to also put together the infrastructure for phase 2. And so that phase 2 is going to be a part of the bonding request that we are asking for. And so I heard the governor talk about that being a part of his ask, and we also in the Senate and the House are going to also join in that ask. And so we would like to make sure that we get enough money for phase 2 as well from the bonding project. So the total amount for that second phase is going to be roughly 64 million, I think.
44 million for the second phase.
44 million? Thank you. All these numbers are going on in my head. But if we got 64 million, we'll spend it somehow, right? But it's like 44 million, and so we're still looking at what that ask is going to be for phase 2, because they've been doing a great job in philanthropy, friends, allies, in order to make sure that not only the state has a stake in it or have skin in the game, but also all of our allies and partners will demonstrate that as well.
Yep, yeah.
Any government.
And I would just add, I think, what you've seen from our administration previously with equity and bonding, we had 30 million previously, and I will just say you should expect a significantly larger investment in cash and equity as we reveal our local jobs and projects plan coming up. But we know the return on the investment is incredible. And frankly, we are doing the work that should have been done for a mighty long time, and we are catching up. So that is part of our commitment and why we're here.
And it says exactly how much more than 30 million, and would that be surplus dollars specifically?
So I'm not going to get too ahead of my skis, which I've been known to do when I get so excited about talking about these projects. But again, I will just reiterate, it will be significantly more. And because we find ourselves with a $7.7 billion surplus, this is the opportunity to make those investments that will have long-lasting impact in the community, but also on communities who have been hardest hit by the pandemic. We've been very clear that that's been our priority, and that's how we'll continue to function. I think projects like this one really speak to that need and meeting that need through equity and bonding.
Yeah, and I would say, not trying to be coy or anything on this, that we're still putting it together. And I would just give you an example. Last Friday, I had a call with North Dakota Governor Burgum, and he was advocating in the Minnesota bonding bill for our share of Moorhead's diversion project on the flood diversion of Fargo-Moorhead. And so those are things that, we're still looking, we're still weighing around. The fact is that Minnesota is in a fiscal phase where we can make sure that we lower costs for Minnesotans. We can make sure those services that they care deeply about, childcare, healthcare, education, are there. We can make sure that taxes do not go up on people. We can provide some help in the time of inflationary costs around gas and heating prices. We can do all those things being fiscally responsible and at the same time investing in these projects. So I think you've seen where the numbers are at. You've seen, I think anticipation, you can expect a similar size bonding bill, which was agreed upon in bipartisan fashion, that 1.9 billion plus some in there on the equity cash. It makes sense for us, you've heard us say this, that instead of creating a situation with the experts in the legislature, the tails end of this is just long-term costs that go years out when you do things. We think it makes sense in many of these cases that the situation we're in is to provide cash and one-time funding for these projects and get them done and get them functioning. So I think you'll see some of that.